Welcome to the Campfire. Today we are taking a deep dive into District 9-5A Division 1. The teams in this district are Galveston Ball, Austin, Madison, Milby, Northside, Sharpstown, Sterling, Waltrip, and Wisdom. Let's start off by analyzing these teams in our film session. The clear favorite in this district is the Tours of Galveston Ball. They ran roughshod over 9-5A opponents last year, as they only gave up 7 points in district play while scoring almost 500. They return a bunch of playmakers, including district MVP Jonah Williams. Jonah has already proven to be one of the best athletes in the greater Houston area, as he excels on offense, defense, and special teams. Although his brother Seth has graduated as quarterback, Ball will still have first-team all-district performers Will Cianfrini back at receiver and Justice Thomas at running back. The Tours may win this district going away, but the rest of 9-5A will be battling it out for the final 3 spots. Last year, it was Waltrip who came in second as they returned two-way players Jalen Middleton and Drake Williams, who found their way on all-district teams for their play on both sides of the ball. Sterling returns receivers Jaquez Brown and Tyler Tillman as they make a run at another playoff spot. Madison and Milby should fight it out for the postseason. They say games are won up front, and Madison brings back a ton of experience on the offensive line. Meanwhile, Milby will rely on two-way player Gonzalo Trigo to help the Buffs pick up some W's. Austin, Northside, Wisdom, and Sharpstown will be working on improving their offensive outcomes in 2023. Combined, they average less than a touchdown a game. However, we should see improvements from these teams, and if they can get timely turnovers, one of these 4 might sneak into the playoffs. For an even deeper look at 9-5A Division 1, here's producer Ward Fasold and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with the district breakdown.
All right, it's district breakdown time. We are talking 9-5A Division 1. And there's my guy, John Poorman. He's ready to talk all things Houston ISD, with the caveat being Galveston Ball is also in there. And they had a field day last year. I mean, I think they only gave up 7 points in district play at all. So I'm assuming, even though Seth Williams is moving on, that even his younger brother and the rest of the team may have a similar success in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, Galveston Ball, I mean, they're in a great position to win this district again, I think. The UIL really helped them out with this alignment, going from a little bit tougher district to perhaps an easier one. And, that's not a knock on any of these Houston ISD schools, but it's just kind of the reality of where some of these programs are at. And, Galveston Ball, you look at what they did in district last year. They finished the regular season undefeated at 10-0 before losing in the playoffs. But, they finished their year outscoring their opponents 556-31. So that gives you kind of an idea of, where they were at against their district opponents. Lots of blowouts, didn't really play many competitive games all season. Obviously that's kind of an area of concern once you do get into the playoffs, but as far as this district goes, it's looking like they're in good shape to repeat as the champions.
Talk about some of the Houston ISD teams that we could look out for in 9-5A.
Yeah, I mean, well, you look at what Waltrip did last year. I mean, they had a great season, kind of a breakthrough surprise team in a lot of regards there. They finished with an 8-3 record, obviously got into the playoffs. They were 7-1 in district, their only loss coming against Ball. And then I look at Sterling, who, had a 7-4 overall record, 6-2 in district. They competed very well. And then Madison, who is no stranger to success on the gridiron, historically speaking. They were right there in that 4th spot at 6-5 overall and 5-3 in district. So, coming in back into this season, I'm looking at those 3 teams to kind of maybe get back into the playoffs.
Should be interesting. And then next week we're going to talk about the district they'll play in the playoffs, 10-5A Division 1, which was very interesting last year, and it should be interesting again this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some game changers in our Players on the Rise, presented by Parker University. On Jonah Williams' Twitter profile, he lists himself as an athlete, and there probably isn't a better description of him than that. The Galveston Ball 4-star is a problem all over the field. He didn't play a lot of offense last year, but as a receiver, he averaged over 35 yards per catch. Jonah is being recruited as a defensive back for his ability to lock his opponent down in coverage. As a sophomore, Williams had 4 picks. Then on special teams, he had 4 returns for scores. Jonah has offers from Baylor, TCU, and Texas A&M, among others. Sterling Jaquez Brown was a first-team All-District selection at wide receiver. Brown caught 21 passes for 276 yards and 4 scores for the Raiders as Sterling finished the season in 3rd place. Jaquez also got some carries out of the backfield as the Raiders tried to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. Jalen Middleton didn't take too many plays off for Waltrip in 2022. As a matter of fact, he was first-team All-District as a safety and second-team All-District as a running back. Middleton also made his mark on special teams as he returned 4 punts for scores. Jalen tallied 7 touchdowns as a running back and had 2 picks on defense. Middleton will be a player both offensive and defensive coordinators need to game plan for in the fall. The district's defensive MVP was Galveston Ball linebacker Stefanos Pathos. As a junior, Pathos was a one-man wrecking crew as he finished with 89 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. And Stefanos almost never had to play an entire game. Pathos will be looking for another big season for the Tours as a senior. Our Ward Fasold caught up to a head coach in this district to talk about their team in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day, and we are talking 9-5A Division I. We are joined by Waltrip head coach Jeremy Kurt. Coach, obviously last year Galveston Ball was playing on a different level, but if you think about it, you guys were playing on a pretty good level yourselves. I mean, it's not like you were no slouch in that district. You took care of business. The Sterling game was a little closer than you might have liked, but everything else you kind of handled. Talk about your thoughts of the new district last year, which will be an old district now because you're used to it, but how things played out for you and how you felt your team did last year.
Well, just first and foremost, it was just, we had been in a tough district for 2 years, so I was happy to get back with familiar people, people that have the same resources with us, same number of kids, and things of that nature. Fort Bend Marshall, man, they're tough. They're a tough deal for anybody. As we see right now, they just almost broke the national record in the 4x1. So I'm pretty delighted not to have to play those guys again. And then just the new district, it was just good to get back together and with pretty much an all HISD district, obviously with Galveston Ball added in there to it. So it was just good to get back into that district where we all can be around each other and playing each other again. And as far as our outcomes last year, I thought no matter what district we was in last year, I thought that it would have been year 3 for me with having 22 seniors. And like I said, them kind of knowing how I am and how we do things here now under the new regime, that I thought we could have a chance to be good. If you would ask me, would we be 8-3 and finish the year the way we did, I would probably tell you that that would have been a great year for us. Maybe not what I expected. I don't never really cast a broad net as far as, what I expect in the totality of a season. I talk to my kids about just going 1-0 each week. So that's pretty much how I stay grounded, is not worrying about the whole season in itself, just trying to worry about each week, 1 week at a time.
That's awesome. That's what I like to hear. And I know we're 4 months away, but I'm glad it's Texas. You got to talk football 24/7. So I appreciate you joining me, and we'll see you come August.
Appreciate you. Go Rams.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we dive into 10-5A Division I. Until then, have a great week, everybody.